Hello children, and welcome to today's collective worship. And as always, when we start our collective worship, Mrs. Robertson is going to share her screen. And as you can see, today we're going to start with our greeting. And we're going to say, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us all rejoice and be glad in it." Now, I haven't had a chance to speak to all of you together properly, so I'd like to say welcome back to the autumn term. It's lovely to have you all back. I know I've seen most of you, but I hope you've had a really good start to term. And I'm going to actually tell you today about our new Christian value that we're thinking about this half term. And I'm going to show you this. And this basically gives us some idea about what we're talking about. And the Christian value is called courage. Now, I know a lot of you will remember us talking about this before, but I'm going to ask you some questions. Just have a little quiet think to yourself. Can you remember a time when you thought, "I've just got to keep going"? And sometimes that means we have to find some courage from within us to help us to keep going. And sometimes everyone feels scared. And maybe you have found a time where you've been scared about something, but you've overcome that. You're actually now feeling proud about how you overcame that. You might also be thinking about, how do I start something new? If it's maybe something new in my learning, something you've never done before, how do I do it? How do I overcome that? It takes courage. Now, there's some quotes there that some of the grown-ups might like to use this half term with you, and maybe you could explore those a bit more with them. Okay? So what I might do is forward this to all the grown-ups, and you might like to cut these out and have them in your classes as something to look at to help us, to remind us what this is all about. So to help us understand, I'm going to make something that you will all recognise, and you've done with Mrs. Robertson before. You'll see something special emerging down the side of the screen. See if you can spot it. So courage is carrying on when things are difficult. It's about overcoming fear. Have you spotted something yet? Hope so. It's about understanding and facing a challenge. It's about risking being out of your comfort zone. It's about always believing in God's promises. It's about going for a goal. It's about being empowered by encouragement. Now again, this might need some further discussion with the grown-ups in your class, but when they have this PowerPoint, they might like to look at this again with you. But today, I'm actually going to share a story that many of you will already know, but it's a good example of somebody who shows great courage. And this is the story of Rama and Sita. So once upon a time, there was a great warrior who was called Prince Rama. He had a beautiful wife who was called Sita. One day, Rama and Sita were banished from their home by the king Rama's brother, Lakshmana, who joined them in exile, which means they had to go far away from where they lived. Living nearby was a terrible demon king. He was called Ravana. He had 10 heads and 20 arms and was feared throughout the land. One day, Ravana kidnapped Sita and took her away in his chariot. Clever Sita left a trail of her jewellery for Rama to follow. And you can see she's throwing all her jewellery off so that hopefully somebody would find her. Rama and Lakshmana followed the trail of glittering jewellery until they met the Monkey King, Hanuman, who became their friend and agreed to help Sita. Messages were sent to all the monkeys in the whole world who set out to find Sita. After a very long search, Hanuman found Sita imprisoned on an island. The army of monkeys couldn't reach the island, so they began to build a bridge. Soon, all the animals of the world, large and small, came to help. When the bridge was built, they rushed across it and fought a mighty battle. When Rama killed the evil Ravana with a magic arrow, he showed great courage, and the whole world rejoiced. Rama didn't expect to be so brave, but he had to rescue Sita, his beloved wife. The whole world was very proud of Rama. Rama and Sita were reunited, and they began their long journey back to their land. Everybody lit lamps to guide them on their way and welcome them back home. Ever since, people light lamps at Diwali, a special celebration, and they remember that light triumphs over dark and good triumphs over evil. And that is the story of Rama and Sita. And I've shared that story because it was a good example of where Rama had to really overcome his fears to do something very brave to save his wife. Now, what I'd like us all to do just for a moment is think, when was the last time I showed great courage? It might have been yesterday. It might have been last week. Just have a quiet think and think, do I really understand what that word means? And if you don't, you can talk about it with your grown-up after this collective worship. So after you've had a quiet think, I'd like you to put your hands together. And you might like to follow the words as I read the prayer. Dear God, give us courage and wisdom to always do what is right. Forgive us when we get things wrong. Give us strength to stand up for what is right and the courage to stand alone against wrong. Let our behaviour and morals be a blessing to you and others. We thank you for those in authority who dedicate their lives to make us safe, happy and successful. Amen. Okay, so there's lots to think about there, children. Thinking about our new Christian value that we're focusing on. Thinking about courage. Thinking about that story that some of you may know very well, some of you might not. But thank you for listening today. And I look forward to seeing you all throughout the week. But I'd like to finish by saying, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Okay. Thank you for listening, children. And I shall look forward to seeing you soon. And have a really good day. Bye for now. Bye.